everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author, and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. Last month I did 10 facts about revising, which I will link up in the cards, but this month I thought I would focus on editing and how all that works. So here we go. Number 1. Editing is a long, drawn out process. I can only talk about how editing works for me, but I found it's the same for a lot of writers, whether they be traditional or indie. Editing is long and drawn out. There are several different stages, which I'll touch on more later, but you will go through developmental, line, copy, and the final proofread. And this all takes time. Your editor has to read through and make notes, you have to read and make changes, and on it goes. And throughout all of this, you'll be making corrections and cutting this and that and reshaping the book from where it started to where it ends up. One thing to really keep in mind when going into the editing stage is that this is going to be a lot of work and it's going to take up a chunk of time. Number 2, you will need professionals to help you. While yes, you will need to go through a self-edit before you hire anyone, the majority of this process happens with professionals guiding you through it all. It may be the same person for every stage, or it may be different people. Personally, I have 3 different editors and they each do different jobs. I prefer that because I feel like it's easier for new fresh eyes to spot mistakes along the way, but each to their own. Some editors will offer a package and it works for them and their clients. One thing is clear though, you need to be hiring people who actually know what they're doing. Otherwise you might end up making things worse and you don't want to deal with that. You will be paying them too, and the amount depends on many factors, from the word count of your projects to their rates and so on. Professional editors are not, in my opinion, something you can skip over without your book suffering for it. Number 3. How much work changes often. You will never know exactly how much work a project is going to take ahead of time. This might just be a me thing, but I've gone into edits being pretty confident and then found out that I have a lot of work ahead of me. It's not just about how much prep work you did in revisions or how much of a brutal self-edit you did. It's all dependent on factors that are sometimes outside of your control. So be ready to work hard and don't get too caught up in the idea that things are only going to go one way. Editing is a massive beast, like I said, and it will change often. Number 4. Every book needs the same stages. I've talked about the 4 types of editors in passing, but let me go into more detail. Developmental editors deal with the story as a whole. They're focused on plot and pacing, character arcs and theme, and all of that rolled into one. They are usually the first editor you approach because you're making a whole bunch of changes based on what they have to say. Line editors deal with the book after developmental and will go through things on a sentence level. They may be able to catch plot holes and such, but they're looking at sentence structure and repeated words and the like. This may be a very heavy one to get through too. It's their job to call into question every little part of your words. Copy editors will basically be checking for spelling, grammar, format and the like, and they are usually the 3rd stage of edits. I find that one to be less of a hassle because it's nowhere near as big as the developmental and line. And finally, the proofreader. They will look through your project trying to spot any errors missed on the first 3 rounds. They can point out missing commas or words or formatting issues that you thought were fine but actually aren't. Every single book should go through all these stages, and it's a whole ton of work. Which brings me to number 5. But not every book has the same workload. Even with every single book going through the same 4 stages, that doesn't mean that they will all carry the same workload. It might be that things are more or less fine and you're just changing bits and pieces here and there. It can also be the case that there are massive changes to make, and that's going to be a lot of going in here and there and tweaking this and that and making the plots and arcs work. The differences from book to book can lull you into a false sense of security, so keep in mind that each book is going to have its own pitfalls and problems, and expect things to change workload wise. Number 6. Editing is hard work. I think I've already made it clear why this is the case, but just in case I haven't, let me be really clear. Editing is freaking hard work. It means tearing apart your book and rebuilding it. It doesn't matter whether you love this part of the process or hate it completely, it's hard work from start to finish. I know that for me it's not a part of the process that I enjoy, and it's really stressful and draining to go through it. It's one of the reasons that I only plan to release 1 book this year, because editing takes a whole lot out of you. You'll be working with people to bring out that same vision of what your book should be at the end, and that takes a lot out of you, so don't be surprised if you find it draining. And you might also find it empowering to go through. Number 7. Finding the right editor takes time. I have been lucky that I've worked with the same people on several projects at this point. I know that I can go to them with issues and we'll talk it through, but my experience is not universal. There are plenty of writers who find it really hard to find the right editor, some never do, and they end up using different people based on what project they're working on and the openings in the editor's schedules. And that's not a bad thing. It's not something to worry and panic yourself over. If you do find that gem of an editor, hold on to them because it will make that process easier. Number 8. You have to leave your ego at the door. One mistake I see a lot of newbie writers make is the idea that because they wrote a book and they've done the self-edit, that it's perfect as it is, and the editor they hire should think so too. They don't think any critique or need for changes is right, that the editor doesn't understand their vision or their genius in telling the story that way. One thing you've got to do when going into the editing process is check your ego at the door. There will be some mistakes, some errors, and you have to go into that knowing that things will be pointed out and things will be changed. Now, of course, as the writer, you have the final say, but if you're not willing to change anything, then maybe the problem isn't your editor, but your view on what your story should be. I say that knowing someone is going to come for me in the comments, but oh well. Number 9. Having a connection with your editor helps. Again, I have been lucky that my editors have always shared that creative vision. I know that working with editors who know you well and who know your writing well is a plus. It doesn't mean that you can only use editors who you're personal friends with, but having a connection with your editor does help smooth that process along. It might be that it takes a few different tries to get there, and that's okay and normal, but searching for that editor for a specific project can both take time, but it's so worth it when you find one that you click with. And number 10. No matter how hard, it's worth it in the end. Despite all the work and stress and anxiety that goes into the editing process, it's still not something I would skip. No matter how hard it might be, no matter how many sleepless nights I might have, I always love the product at the end of it. It can be tempting to think that you can get that on your own, but the truth is, without those other eyes, you wouldn't have managed it, because if it were possible, you'd have done it already. So just keep that in mind and remember that it is very much worth it. So there you go, those are my 10 facts on the editing process and basically the things I've learned along the way. As I've said before, I'm not someone who enjoys editing, I'm not someone who finds it easy, I'm not someone who finds it less stressful or anything else like that. It really is one of the most stressful parts of publishing for me, but that's just a me thing, it doesn't have to be an everyone thing. So what's one thing you found out about editing? Let me know in the comments down below. That's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media and my books are available everywhere, and you can also sign up for my newsletter. And don't forget to pick up Cramming Chronicles: The Second Pang, which is the second in the Young Adult Urban Fantasy series. And also don't forget to grab a ticket for the city in Birmingham in July, where I'll be signing books. All the links to which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.